You want to get high, man?
Let's stimulate your mind.
Get up, Chucky!
What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojan Kim?
California dreaming.
Hello and welcome to the Rojan Kim cast. It's me, Rojan Kim. Thanks for joining me today. I have a confession to make. I did record a whole cast, a hot pod, and I just stopped. I deleted it, stopped it. Reason why is because I found myself kind of rambling, making sense, but piece by piece, and really just talking about just some boring ass shit. Just really, all I was talking about is comedy again, and just comedy itself, and comedy under attack, and comedy. Who gives a fuck? Really, who gives a fuck? I mean, really, it's not that important. Honestly, it's comedy's here. It's gonna go away. It's not gonna be popular at some point. You know, people are gonna be like, ugh, comedy sucks. That's what happens with comedy. It's been around long enough so that there are cycles. You know, it's kind of like swing dancing. You know what I mean? But comedy's older. So it'll come and go. It'll come into fashion. It'll come out of fashion. It became important and heightened because of Jon Stewart. Honestly, it's because of the failure of the media that comedy became so important. And now the media is constantly attacking comedy. And the media sucks balls. Maybe that's what I should just talk about. I mean, I'm just trying to do extra podcasts, trying to put out more content, you know. Apparently people are enjoying it. My cousins told me, hey, you got some really great guests on, you know, past few episodes. Really great stuff. And I was like, yeah, thanks. You know, I just didn't have the heart to tell them that I cannot stress how much this is about me. You know what I'm saying? This podcast, it's called the Rojan Kim cast, not the guest cast. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, this is really the ramblings of dare I say madman? I dare, only out of hyperbole, but really a mentally ill person, a person who probably needs help, who needed help desperately long ago, but managed to survive, and is now this, you know, middle-aged comedian, artist. I mean, I can make a film. I can produce a film. I mean, I've got skills. I've got a skill set that would help me survive fascist takeover, because I could offer myself as a propagandist, a really good propagandist. I can make propaganda films, and I can deliver propaganda speeches. You know, I've got some public speaking experience. I'm pretty persuasive, I would say. You know, oratory. I studied oratory as a child. And I also studied the art of filmmaking and the use of the image to convey emotion and really manipulating people, you know, manipulating the audience to have a desired outcome, which is, in effect, isn't that what comedy is? I'm just manipulating the audience into laughing, but doing so in a way that I feel is, I don't know, a little bit more honest than drama. Because I feel like drama is also manipulative, right? It wants you to feel something, but it takes its time. It's got to build the pieces. The writing has to be tight. You know what I mean? Everything has to just kind of, you know, line up, and then it hits you, and then you're like, ah, and that's the tragedy, right? Like the Greeks kind of came up with like this, what we call tragedy now, right? But on comedy side, comedy, I feel like the laughter comes out of the gut. Here I go again. I'm talking about fucking comedy. God damn it. The last thing I want to talk about is comedy. I did 12 minutes on comedy. Fucking erase. Maybe I'll put that. Fuck it. I'll put it out at the end. All right. This is gonna be a goddamn shit show. But whatever. It's not. It's not a shit show. It's literally me with a Zoom recorder. That's all it is. There's no. If anything is a shit show, it's this show, the Rojan Kim cast, with me, Rojan Kim. All right. Yeah, all right. Are you guys, you want to get in the inner circle? You want to know what's going on in my life? I'll tell you right now. All right, fuck it. I'll be honest. I just took 5 micrograms of ALD52. All right. Now that sound, you're like, holy are you okay? Some of you might be saying, are you okay, dude? I'm like, yeah, I've done this for months now. No, I'm kidding. I haven't done it for months, but so I'm microdosing. Microdosing is a new hot thing coming out of Silicon Valley, where the idea is you take sub-threshold doses of psychedelics as nootropic or for increased performance or whatever the fuck. There's no science on any of this because of the stupid drug laws. So people are just taking it upon themselves to be pioneers. Go out there. Just like the early cavemen, the brave pioneers that we owe our lives to, who went out there and would sample random plants, mushrooms, just to see what would happen, and then either died or became gods, you know? That's sort of what happened back then. You know, those are the people we owe a debt to, and we have no idea who they are. And they are immortalized in the sense that we eat edible mushrooms. We eat psychedelic mushrooms. That we're still alive. That we have omnivorous diets. So we don't know who these people are. We don't know their names, but they are forever memorialized in human behavior. So anyways, I'm joining them. I said, fuck it. I read a lot about this stuff, okay? I read a lot about... Okay, let's just backtrack. Microdosing. Sub-threshold dosing of psychedelics. There's different ways you could do it. You could take it every day. You could take it once a month. I don't know. Whatever you want. But I'm following something called the James Fadiman Protocol. Fadiman. Look it up. So he's I don't know, doctor guy? He could be a doctor or just a guy. I don't know. But he came up with this protocol where you microdose and take 2 days off and you microdose. Technically, I'm supposed to be journaling every day and stuff, but whatever. I do this. I do comedy. Come on. So, sub-threshold. What does that mean? A threshold dose of acid is probably around like 75 micrograms. You know, classic tab is supposed to be 100, right? I mean, just a tab is supposedly 100. Back in the day, a classic tab is probably like 400. Back in the day, acid was dosed much heavier than it was now. At least that's what the drug lore is. But now, thanks to the miracle of modern science, we can bypass a lot of the problems with the black market. Namely, how the fuck do I know how many micrograms are in a tab? Like, there's no regulation. We don't know. How do I even know it's acid? LSD 25. How do I know? I don't know. You don't know. You don't know. You just take it and hope for the best, you know, and have a good time. That's usually how it worked because of drug prohibition. You know, if this was all legal, if there was a legal way of doing this, you could find out. You could be like, yeah, it's exactly this chemical and it's exactly this amount, you know, and it's all standardized. Enter research chemicals. Okay. So I got interested in research chemicals, just Hamilton Morris, you know, a couple of, whatever, just like Alexander Shulgin, just reading about these different chemists and what they're doing. For instance, ecstasy Molly, right, the MDMA, that was synthesized by Alexander Shulgin. He actually made it, and then he moved on. He moved on and synthesized fucking thousands of other compounds, okay? Just as a pioneer, he just would try them and move on. Just try them at different doses. He'd fucking trip out, freak out. Sometimes nothing would happen. Sometimes he feels sick. And then he just ended up dying, I think, of brain cancer. Probably a coincidence. I don't know. But he did a shitload of drugs before he went. I mean, he invented a shitload of drugs. He did drugs we've never even done. That people, the biggest druggies, Hamilton Morris himself, is dying to do some of the drugs that Alexander Shulgin did. He's probably got a piece of his brain. He's probably fucking went to the morgue where Alexander Shulgin died and fucking did whatever he had to do, brought in some sex slaves, whatever had to do to get a sweet slice of that pituitary gland of Alexander Shulgin. I mean, some of that adrenal chrome, whatever it is, man. He fucking, can you imagine? I mean, fuck. I don't think I could do it. I'm not really into these like giant shamanistic psychedelic trips anymore. I think if I do ayahuasca, that would be my one I do it for. But in terms of shrooms and acid, like I don't need giant doses, you know. Especially acid. Acid's kind of like a fun thing, you know, recreational thing. You take too much, you're just like useless. It's like drinking. You either get too drunk, right? So I was like, all right, acid sounds interesting. Looked into research chemicals, found out that there are lysergamides, which are analogs of LSD. And in fact, all it is actually LSD, just a prodrug form. So for instance, I think one of the first ones offered on the market, and this is legal. They're legal. I don't think, maybe not so much in the U.S., but in Canada, they're legal, and it's legal to ship, so it's not technically illegal, right? What a fucking ridiculous thing this is. So there's something called 1P LSD. What they did is they attached a phosphorus to LSD so that when you take it, the phosphorus breaks off and then just breaks down into LSD. I, out of curiosity, decided to try some. It was very easy to do. There's actually a website you could go to called lysergy.com. Lysergy.com. And then you have to use crypto to buy your tabs. I mean, they got a whole menu there. So I bought like 5 tabs of 1P LSD for something like $40, something like that, which is pretty decent. Under $10 a tab, that's very decent. But of course, I had no idea if it was acid. But I decided, fuck it, I'm going to try it. So I tried it, and it was like the cleanest acid I ever... Oh, in fact, you can listen to what the episode I did with Caleb Barge on Rockaway Beach. I don't know what number it is, but we both took 1P LSD, and we sat, I think I talked about it, and sat at Rockaway Beach and burned our asses off because we sat there without sunscreen for 8 hours, and we didn't put sunscreen. We had sunscreen, we didn't put it on each other, like a couple of homophobos. I have a whole bit about how straight guys are so dumb they would rather die than think be gay. You know what I mean? Like, that's so dumb. Anyways, enter ALD52. ALD52 is another compound. What the fuck is that? You're saying ALD52, some people think, is what was referred to as orange sunshine in the 70s. I think that may have been debunked. Unclear. But anyways, the point of ALD52 is that it's acid also. It's actually just like LSD-25 is the 25th lysergamide compound. Albert Hoffman, the inventor, father of LSD, came up with. But ALD52 is the 52nd compound, right? So after 25, he was like, hey, well, let's keep going. And he found 52. And ALD52 also breaks down into an LSD-like component in your body, and it's pretty smooth. It's pretty nice. I'll be honest, I haven't taken 100 of it yet, but I did trust this company, and I started to microdose it, and this was last year. So I did 2 rounds of 10 weeks of microdosing. So the Fadiman protocol is 2 days on, 2 days off, and then, you write about it, journal about it, and do that for about 10 weeks. And I did. And I had really good results. And so then I did it again. And I shared it, right? I shared it with my lady. It helped her. We both did it. Then we did shrooms for a bit. We did psilocybin. And I would say there is big difference with the psilocybin. I was trying to take 0.1 grams because I figured that's about 1/10 of a gram. And yeah, sub-threshold, didn't feel anything. But there was an emotionality. Remember, it was like a lot of feelings. I mean, which isn't bad, I think generally it's like a mood lift, generally a little bit sharper. It's like psychedelic coffee in some way. At least the LSD version, because it is a little bit more analytical, a little bit more, you can kind of detach, could be a word, and depersonalize could be a word. But I also do feel like it's objective. Making things objective, like feelings and stress that may be overwhelming. It has a tendency to help me kind of take a step back and look at it and not be so overwhelmed by it, and then actually come up with a solution, or at least chill out enough to be like, all right, this isn't that important. Like, I don't have to be at like a 10 for this, it's maybe like a 5. Like, I could, that's like, I don't know. It introduces a little bit of logic, and it's helpful. So what am I doing? Am I selling fucking... I'm selling LSD analogs. It's not LSD. I mean, I'm selling analogs of it. I'm selling it. I'm not. I wish I was. Man, I should be fucking sponsored by CBDs and lysergy.com. Anyways, go check it out, lysergy.com. You got to use Litecoin. And if you don't know how to get Litecoin, just go to Coinbase. Go to Coinbase.com. Here we go. Yeah, there you go. Coinbase.com, where you can connect a bank account to buy crypto, buy Litecoin. Don't fuck around with trying to invest in Bitcoin. That's not... Only whales. I got into this too, and you got to be a whale. And a whale means just having a shitload of money and moving the market, which is essentially all markets. Okay? So there's no fucking point in trying to invest in this shit, but it's a great way to buy things anonymously, like, say, gray market psychedelics that you're using for your own mental enhancement and life improvement. I'm not fucking getting high off of it. And who cares if I got high? Why is that even bad? Why is it bad that I'm high? Who gives a fuck? Right? Why do you give a fuck? Right? If I'm high and I'm highly functioning, what does that matter? It only matters once I start fucking up, right? It only matters once I start like killing people or hurting them or not being on time to my job or some whatever. Responsibilities. Like I can do that. All right? So it doesn't matter. In fact, the psychedelics help me be even more productive, help me be a better part of society. It helps me not want to just, I don't know, fucking tune out or, there's plenty of things you could do, not just drugs, okay? Like drugs are just one thing over a lot of other things that you could do to escape reality, okay? And what is reality? All that, sure. No, I understand. We don't need to have that conversation. But I'm just saying it's easy to just lose yourself to gambling, lose yourself to religion, lose yourself to a person, lose yourself to shopping, lose yourself to your phone, lose yourself. I mean, addictions are everywhere. Not just addictions, but things that just take up your time, your soul, and you just start becoming, a being of gambling. You start becoming a shopping being, a being of your, just connected to your phone, symbiotically connected to your phone, even your dog, just connected to your dog. You know what I mean? Like I think humans, we are social and we seek to put our tendrils into something. And if it's not another person or a community, it ends up getting a little weird, a little freaky sometimes, especially when it's hooked up to addiction. It gets kind of freaky. So psychedelics, I feel like, help with that. That needy gnawing, that hole, that emptiness, that let's fill it with something. Let's fill this hole. I think with a little bit of microdosing and meditation, I've come to realize that the hole can never be filled. That is actually the nature of the hole. The hole itself is, by definition, unfillable. So the very act of trying to fill the hole is actually futile. And then in the time it took for us to realize the futility of this action, we die. We don't live long enough. Yeah, I mean, I guess now if you got the dough and you get the life extension, maybe you can. But, yeah. Life is fleeting. Life is short. Shingo's dead. Dude. He beat me at jiu-jitsu. His ancestors were smiling. His ancestors were like, Banzai! They were like, we didn't lose the war for nothing. Hiroshima was not for nothing. He was, get that Korean. They was like, yeah, come for the woman. He was winning. And now he's dead. I hope he had gotten high. I don't know. I hope he had enjoyed. No, he was a good dude, and he lived a good life, I guess. I don't know. For all I know, he could have had little girls in his dungeon. I don't know. Maybe he thought he was like, I'll put you in my dungeon. I put you in my... All right, he did have an accent. Okay, I'm not... He was Japanese from Japan, and he had a thick Japanese accent. Okay? And he would manhandle me, right? And I was helpless. Underneath him. Helpless. You hear me? But now he's dead, and I'm alive. And that's life. That is life. That is existence. Anyways, check out lysergy.com if you're interested in microdosing. Send me a message if you want. Send me a message. Find me on Instagram at RojanKim or at RojanKim on Twitter. Find me there. Send me a message if you're curious about microdosing. Want to find out more? By the way, on lysergy.com, they sell 20 microgram tabs. So that makes it even easier. You can cut those suckers into like 5s. So that's what I end up doing. God, I didn't even get to like what I do. I started with 10 micrograms. It was too much. You could kind of feel it. It was still threshold for me at least. So I cut those in half, went to 5, which actually makes one tab last a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like you get 20 little doses out of one single tab. So that was cool. And you do it once I do it like twice a week. So 1 day on, 2 days off. Check out James Fadiman, the Fadiman protocol. And 5 micrograms. I don't know. It helped me out. If you have issues with anxiety, if you have issues with that, it's worth checking out. Now, of course, I'm not a doctor, guys. I'm just saying what works for me. And I'm saying I found it to be safe for me, and I found it to make a difference. Now, if you are dealing with mental issues, you got some psychedelic issues, you've maybe had bad trips, I've had plenty, but you've had bad trips and haven't really dealt with them and learned how to work them out, then maybe this isn't for you. It's not for you, but you should know that, it's out there. It's something out there, and it's something relatively unexplored, untapped. Scientists should really go in there. I think this could really help us figure out human consciousness and the mind. But instead, it's just losers like me cutting tabs into tiny little squares and finding self-improvement through it. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys. This is the Rojan Kimcast. I don't have any dates. I don't have anything going on. I'm broke as shit, but I'm getting paid soon. So I'm going to pull myself out of this fucking hole, guys. Right? Because you can't fill the hole, but you can climb out of it. Right? So thanks for listening, guys. Okay, I decided I'm just going to put out the first part of the original podcast that I did. It's just me ranting about comedy. It's not really ranting. There's some good points. There's some good points in there. I just kind of do give up because I realize that, man, am I making the same points? But anyways, feel free to just fucking not listen. But, if you're interested in a little bit of what I have to say further about comedy as, I guess, a concept, please continue to listen. Thank you. Hello. Welcome to the Rojan Kimcast. It's me, Rojan Kim. Trying to do a little more output. Trying to put out more than one episode a week. Apparently, that's supposed to drive up my engagement and my numbers. And the more crap I put out, the more people listen for some reason. Well, I appreciate your listening. I don't want to put you guys down, the ones who are listening. And if you're listening, a new listener, because you're like, hey, what's this Rojan Kimcast? For some reason, well, welcome to the Rojan Kimcast. I'm your host, Rojan Kim. I decided to do a second episode this week because I've got so much to say. I've got so much to say about so many things. And won't somebody just stop me? Nobody will stop me. Nobody is stopping me. Not even death. Death will not stop me. I've known people who died. People younger than I. People my age. People doing comedy. People not doing comedy. A dude I used to do jiu-jitsu with recently died. He was like in his mid-40s, not too much older than I. And he used to just kick the shit out of me. This guy Shingo would just, god damn it. And he was little. He was probably like half my size, which, okay, half my size is like 70 pounds, so that's not true. But he was, you know what I mean? He was like he probably had like 20 pounds, He was probably 20 pounds lighter than me. I probably had 20 pounds on him. But he was a blue belt and I was a purple belt, and he would just kick my ass, dude. And he wasn't like ripped or anything. He was just sort of like one of those wiry Japanese dudes, you know what I mean? Like one of those dudes that you see in the movies who like will run with a grenade into the Helm's Deep. Am I thinking of the Urukai and Helm's Deep? Well, anyways, just think of, instead of being really buff like a skinny dude and him running. Okay, I've ruined the whole metaphor probably with the Lord of the Rings things, but I think you can imagine a very wiry, ropey, skinny Japanese man, right? Who fucking has a lot of tenacious D. He gave me the tenacious D when he was pinning me down against my will. All right. I became a comfort woman to this guy who's Japanese. I became like I was thinking about how like he'd be like, just like holding me down, paying me down, just fucking beating me at jiu-jitsu, and just thinking of all my ancestors just shaking their heads, just like, this is why we lost to the Japanese. This is why right here. See this? Look at this. This guy's fucking 20 pounds heavier. He's fucking getting pinned down like I don't know. I don't want to say little girl. My instinct was to say it, but not because that's what I meant, just because I was just thinking of a helpless human, but I don't want to. I mean, I guess I already got canceled last time because of the Gookie Monster thing. Hey, go check out episode 106, Struggle Sesh, the one I put out earlier this week if you want a debut of my new character, the Gookie Monster. Now, I would say the premise itself is not new, I have to admit, the Andrew Yang is who taught me the word gookie. Really, Andrew Yang via the Cumtown podcast, because they played his audiobook and then had him saying gookies, and then they laughed about gookies, as did I, as if, I was friends with them. But, I'm not. And I don't think that the Cumtown boys are racists and that they would turn on me, whatever. And if they did turn on me, I know jujitsu. And as long as they're not Japanese, I'll fuck them up. I will fuck them up. I don't care if they're bigger than me. Obviously, the little Japanese guy who's dead now, he fucking beat my ass, and he was smaller, so I could beat a bigger guy too. Being Korean. I don't think it has anything to do with being Korean. It has more to do with just learning jujitsu and knowing it. And Shingo just trained like hard every day. Every fucking day. Just trained and trained and trained. That dude looked beat every day. And then one day he just died. I don't understand. I mean, I just found out on Facebook, found out on Facebook that he died. No explanation as to why or how, just that he's dead and that he's only in his 40s, and that could have happened to me. I'm in my 40s. I do jiu-jitsu. Holy shit. Except he was beating me, and now I'm the one who's alive. So who's the winner now, Shingo? That's terrible. I'm going to hell, Shingo. No, I don't think he believed in, I think he was Shinto. That's probably really racist of me to think that this Shingo, a guy named Shingo from Japan, was Shinto. Is that racist? No, that's not racist. Racists don't know what Shintoism is. All right. See, I'm backed into a corner here. This is all this racism talk. I'm being accused of racism online. Being accused for defending comedy. Defending comedy, I'm the racist, right? Meanwhile, the comedian who says he's standing up against racism and homophobia, he's not. He's funny sometimes. Whatever. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Like, I don't want to give people any more power than they need over some stupid Facebook shit, Twitter shit. Just keep in mind, I am attacked, okay? Daily. And it's not attacked. The Facebook posts arguing online, that's not even real, guys. It's not real. It's not real. I actually have fun. I enjoy it because I can, give myself the required distance necessary to, I don't know, use it as an exercise in wit, debate. Not having to go off the handle and argue out of emotionality. Arguing emotionally online has got to be the dumbest thing ever, because emotions are momentary, in-person things. And then what you're doing is you're putting them down, putting them down into words so they can just exist forever. So now you have a permanent record of a momentary feeling. You look back on that thing, you might be like, fuck, I didn't feel like this at all. Holy shit. I mean, I feel that way about opinions that I have about like politics or whatever. I'm going to probably change my mind about shit. I probably will. And that's fine, right? You're allowed to. But now that we keep a record of everything is good, now there's this weird pressure to be consistent always. To always be consistent. Now, of course, I'm kind of hesitant about like, all right, I care about logical consistency, right? I think you should be logically consistent. That's why this whole comedy shit, and it's boring to some, I'm sorry. But I feel like, listen, if you are saying you're a comedian, that means what you're truly doing is supplicating yourself to a god, okay? Not a real god like in the Hindus, but I mean just let's just say like metaphorically or just in terms of conceptually, comedy is a god, okay? It's a concept. It's an eternal concept. It's like, have you ever read the Sandman comics? In the Sandman comics, there's gods like Zeus and Thor and Aphrodite and shit. But then there's the endless, which really compose the 7 aspects of human consciousness, or actually not just humans, but sentient consciousness. And that was death, dream, destruction, despair, desire, delirium, destiny. I got it. Oh my God, I'm such a nerd. I'm such a nerd. I remember it all. 7 endless. Okay. So, and they all begin with D, okay? All right? Because Tenacious D. All right. It's a mild callback there, guys. See, comedy is a god. Okay, it's an endless thing. Just like those endless beings I just mentioned, those are supposed to be aspects of sentient beings, all beings who can think and feel. That's even fucking AI, I guess. They will have death, destruction, so on and so forth. Well, I say comedy is one of them too. It's not a D word. It's a C word, okay? And comedy is God in the sense that it's bigger than me. It's bigger than you. It's long. It goes all the way back to the beginnings of humanity, right? Whenever the first caveman cut a fart and everybody laughed, and then figured out he could do something like, "Hey, come here, I gotta tell you something," right? And that probably became like one of the first jokes. Very simple setup punch, right? Setup, come here, punch the fart, right? Because it goes against the expectation of something important or something, right? What do you hear? I'm breaking this down for you, dissecting the first fart joke for you, dissecting the frog of the first fart joke for you guys. Is that what I'm doing? You guys are smarter than that. I don't need to do that, but you get it. Comedy is old as fuck, right? It's older than me. It's older than you. So all these ideas we have of homophobia, racism, yes, those things are bad in and of itself. The idea of saying one race is superior to the other and maintaining that is a terrible thing. The idea that gay people are inferior or inhuman or should be despised or stoned or whatever, that's all just right out of the Bible, actually. That's the Lord's word. That's the Lord's word. That's the Lord said that. But you know what? Fuck the Lord. That's what I'm saying. Fuck him. Right? He was wrong. I'm going to take a stand. Fuck it. God. Right? You're so great. God, want to kill all the gays? Nah, dude. Don't you see inside their souls? I thought you were God. What does it matter if they suck dicks or lick bush? Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck what they put in their holes? All right, I'm doing Kurt Metzger now. This is you please check out Kurt Metzger's. I don't know if it's on White Precious or no. Kurt Metzger talks to young people about sex. One of those albums. Great bit about God and his purview of man's holes, woman's holes. You know, just the fact that he's very, very concerned about what we do with our holes is a great bit. Check that out. All right. I took a little break. I talked myself down from the ledge, guys. I think those of you who've been listening, you get where I'm coming from with this whole comedy thing. The idea that it's bigger than me. And that how dare you say nothing racist or homophobic can ever be funny. I say fuck you. First of all, yeah, it can in the right context. You know why? Because comedy is a greater god than racism and homophobia. Racism and homophobia are actually pretty new. New comparatively. I mean, comedy, let's say we take comedy back to the ancient Greeks. Okay? We can all agree comedy existed then. They had satyr plays. They made up those stupid masks. The sad one and the happy one. The Greeks came up with that, so they got it. They understood there were tragedies and comedies, the first written comedies, right? We got them from the Greeks. Now, were the Greeks racist? Were the Greeks homophobic? They might have been racist. They considered everybody barbarians who weren't Greek. I mean, Athenians considered Spartans barbarians. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Greece was not a country. It was a bunch of city-states. Very tribal in that way, even though it was, quote-unquote, civilized. Still, in-group, out-group stuff. Otherwise, homophobia. I mean, hey, listen. I mean, not for dudes. I guess they were homophobic against lesbians. Seemed to not like the clam slamming, but they were super into pole smoking. That's really what it was. Like men were awesome. You know, men were awesome. It was a very patriarchal, male-dominated kind of male chauvinistic, right? Only men could be citizens. Men fucking each other is just the height of male hotness, right? It's kind of gross to fuck a woman, all that stuff. That's it. So you know what? Comedy supersedes. Boom. Racism, homophobia. It's older. Okay? Point made. I move on. Let me digress. God. 12 minutes about comedy. That's just what needs to be. That's really what you guys want to hear.